Welcome back to the second episode of Crossing the Quantum Edge. I'm your host, one of your hosts, JR, and the other host, of course, here is Edge. How you doing, man?
It's good to be back. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we got a good subject this time. So this time we talked about cars and things like that the last time, right? And we have that conversation around some of those things. But as we just said before, this channel is about all kind of different topics. And one topic that's very dear to both of us, I'm a little bit newer to it than Edge is living an alcohol-free life. Some people say sobriety, and why don't you like sobriety? I think we
I
talked
don't know
about
if I don't know if I love that term because sobriety can mean a multitude of things depending on what it means to you, what your journey's been, and what you choose to abstain from, and what your idea of having a clear head is. Um, I've always said I don't drink. I do live a sober lifestyle. Actually, I'm straight edge. About 3 years now. I have my reasons for that, but I feel it provides a lot of benefits, and I think it's the greatest life hack you can do for yourself.
it.
And I want to be here to share that because it's been an important step in my life, and it's really given me a new track and purpose and new meaning.
Yeah. I'm a little bit newer. I started the second of the beginning of this year, so I'm about what 6 weeks in, 6 7 weeks, something like that. And it's been very interesting. You know, I think that I agree everything with you're saying about the lifestyle and the changes that it causes. Right, even with your sleep patterns become much better, more energy, more focus. Why did I do it? I'm fine with saying why. I was getting too fat. It was just a simple fact. I ballooned up to 252 pounds. My previous biggest weight was 248 pounds when my first daughter was born. Eating a lot of ice cream and sitting, around in sympathy. And
Postpartum from then.
yeah, exactly. And I remember I was got on a scale at my mom's house and like I saw the 248 then and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm turning into my dad," right? And then I think that night we got home and like we had a detached garage and like they walked inside the house. She carried the baby inside the house and I just like went to the garage, got a jump rope and started jump roping immediately at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And as I was jump roping, I was watching my breasts move with Doug's leg, and I had to get back. And I call it getting some things done in life that I really wanted to, celebrating whatever you want to call it. With celebration, when I was drinking comes drinks, and that's when I hit the big, 252. And I don't my self image of myself is not that big of a guy. Like I'm a big guy, but not like, that. So it was very important to protect my self image. What I identified myself with my entire life, which was being an athletic kind of person that can do things. And then yeah, I was still exercising,
Hmm.
but uh, regardless of how rigorous an hour basketball training, blah 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 blah, I was drinking almost 1,000 calories a night, so I was up there.
Wow.
Yeah, I was up there. My family says, "Well, we're Indians, so we drink a lot." We don't have the Indian in us, but anyway. Oh, did
You're
the
not the first family to claim that.
yeah, did the DNA test? Not a bit. Not 1 ounce of Native American. So yeah, so mine was health. It was just first of all like health concerns. I have young children, and and that's what started down there. I did not have a plan. I did not say at this day, I'm going to end it or it's only going to go for this long. I just said no more. I'm gonna stop, and it's been great. So what when you stopped, what were like some of the challenges that like you because it's good that you're healthier, but what were some things that were kind of a little bit took longer to get used to or that you had to overcome?
Well, I think the biggest change is instead of being in the presence of alcohol for a social setting, uh, it really becomes almost something that makes you irritable. I used to go to bars or wineries for social aspects, to take the edge off, to I was very into wine tasting. In fact, I was enrolled in winemaking school before COVID broke out. Was planning to make a big move to wine country.
Okay.
So I had a big collection at home.
Naples, or
Had
where were you gonna go?
This
Which?
is in Eastern Washington.
Okay. Okay. Mhm,
Yeah, it's a high desert. It's excellent wine. We don't have any fires there. It's very consistent, unlike California.
mhm,
It's an
mhm,
irrigated desert and it's world class. Anyhow, I think, for me, I wasn't given a choice. I suffered some health setbacks, and I was told by the doctor, whether he was right or wrong, that I had to stop drinking completely. And at the time, I mean, it was just coming out of COVID, and during COVID, drinking had increased for me and for a lot of people
mhm,
that I
mhm.
know. Just to kind of,
It goes from all of a sudden, well, I'm at home. I mean, is it 2 o'clock? Is it 5 o'clock? And then it moves
it
back a
doesn't
little
matter,
further.
Yeah,
You're in this, cloud, this constant cloud of intoxication. But go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Um, so for me, I was somehow able to balance work and fitness and social life with drinking
Hmm.
more than I should have been.
Hmm.
And I ended up getting sick. I had some issues with my heart, and
Hmm.
the doctor just told me, like, you cannot drink anymore. You're done drinking. And he told me no one really needs alcohol. And I thought, man, is this guy like a spokesperson for Mothers Against Drunk Driving or something? Did he, something bad happened to this guy? He's really being a buzzkill right now. And I was just, when the news hit me, I had a really hard time accepting it. And I
Hmm.
was fearful that, oh my gosh, this is going to change my social life, or maybe my dating life, or certainly my recreation, my hobbies, and what
Hmm.
I'm passionate about, which was wine and travel and things like that. And still wasn't quite healthy. My health really hadn't recovered yet, but I just chose to accept it as a cross to bear,
Hmm.
cross to carry. And I ended up moving to Florida, getting
No.
to sea level and getting around
But where
a
did you move in?
culture.
But you moved to Miami, though.
I did move to Miami,
You moved to
yes.
Miami and got sober. That's kind of like the opposite way of how most people do it.
It is. It is. And, I was in my late 30s and moved right into Brickell and, party central. Everyone's out late, everyone's drinking, everyone's doing drugs. But there was a culture of um, very health conscious fitness and diet and
Mhm.
exercise. And, suddenly you're in swimsuit weather year round and everyone else is exercising. The gyms are insane there. So from that perspective, getting sober allowed me to I had a lot of ground to get back. I'd lost a lot of muscle,
From
picked
the
up some
surgery
fat.
or from
Yeah, well,
what your
from my
procedure?
operation and
Yeah.
from not being able to train,
Yep. 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 Yep.
not being able to dose the way I was dosing before, couldn't eat the same way. So for me, reading about alcohol and the effects it has on our fitness and our performance and on our metabolism and our physique, it's very impactful. And then starting to learn about how the brain works. I made a career change and I got into doing uh, stocks and trading, and just the mental acuity and the mental sharpness required for that. Being being sober was incredibly helpful in order to
Yeah.
learn. I basically went to school, had to learn how to develop a 7-hour attention span every day sitting down.
This is interesting because this is something that I was formulating in thought, but so you had to find something else, a different passion or different learning, or do something else to keep. I won't say distracted, but to redirect your focus away from what you took away out of your routine and your lifestyle.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's huge because like for me, the same. I mean, it's not as impactful, but I decided to try to learn how or at least exercise through boxing. We won't say that, listen, it's pretty funny because like me trying to box because I've only probably been in two fights my whole life. Once when I was like 8 years old, fought a boy 5 years.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, 5 years. He was 5 years older than me too, and he had a
Oh,
mustache.
okay.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I lost, but it was what it was. And then I had another little pushing match when I was like in fifth grade or whatever. Then pretty much I was bigger than everybody. So and maybe I was smart enough. We could say that too to avoid certain situations because far be it from what other people think. I think I'm pretty, so I don't want to destroy my face. Or uh, no.
So humble too.
So yeah, I for me, I didn't even know how to throw a punch at all. All right, or
Okay.
technically, I still don't, but it looks a little better at least. And then it was always like trying to picture somebody in the bag that you just hate or want to get back at, and I can't personally because I don't really hate
Mhm.
anybody. So, but through the process of me learning it and actually filming myself, which I do also to look back at the bad things that I do and then take advice from friends. Um, it got me into this thing, kind of something to busy my mind and focus my mind also.
Yeah.
And it was it kind of took off some of the idle mind or idle time,
Yes.
that you would usually use.
Yeah, idle time, if you made a decision to uh commit to sobriety, or even just as a New Year's resolution, like, hey, I'm gonna do sober October, or whatever it is, I'm gonna try this and see if I feel any different. Okay, great. You're gonna save money. You're gonna have a lot
So,
more free time. You know, you're not gonna get a DUI if you're not drinking.
hey, yeah. No, so
There's
yeah, because I was like, when I knew, so right before I knew it was bad, I was starting to get, the little fifths weren't enough, because you would drink, I would drink it, and I drink a little bit more than half, and the next day, like, I only had that much, and then it's like it was a whole, like this is a psychological thing. So then I started getting
Yeah.
the liters, and then I drank like a tequila liter, like past half, like lower, and I just was like, and the funny thing, borderline alcoholic. So look at the bottle next day. It's like, who drunk my alcohol?
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
remember drinking all of this. And
They
so,
give themselves permission, and the memory, that's, not just your metabolism as far as your calories, or
Mhm.
your body fat, or even your muscle. If you're in the gym and trying to gain and put on muscle, I mean, drinking is probably the worst thing you can do, because your body has to process the poison first before it can focus on
Mm.
rebuilding or growing new muscle, even repairing. So, um, I don't know. I guess we can have multiple audiences tonight. They could be someone that's never thought of it. They could be someone who's been sober already, someone who's struggling with alcohol addiction. I mean, and anything in between. And I'm not here to advocate for, Alcoholics Anonymous or taking medication. And I'm not here to judge anyone. And everyone struggles with addiction in some kind of way. But I'm just here to share, my journey. And
Did
if
you
it gives someone some insight, great.
did you do any research into how alcohol makes you gain weight? I have some, and I just wanted to kind of compare a little bit with you.
Yeah, so alcohol is definitely a fat loss inhibitor.
Yep.
And like I said, it's your body has to first process the poison before you can metabolize fat, or breaking down glucose, or repairing muscle. It interferes with sleep, and so it's a cortisol spike. And as you're drinking, it's a stimulant first, and then the next day it's a depressant. So
Mm.
you've got something that's messed with your metabolism, your circadian rhythm, your central nervous system,
Hmm.
your recovery system, and probably your immunity too. So it screws up everything.
So it
And
does all that, and then the next day you're unmotivated to try to do anything about it because you're depressed.
you feel like
Trash.
crap,
Yeah.
because you're hungover, and your body's just trying to process the alcohol that you poisoned yourself with.
Yeah, I claim to have scientifically tried to figure some of this out also from a cell regrowth because What it's doing is this glycogen. Is am I saying that right?
Yes.
Glycogen, right?
Yes.
So you have to have cell regrowth, and it has to produce glycogen in order for your cells to multiply and whatever. So typically our bodies are trained to use our fat repositories, right? Because that's basically how all mammals and everything else work.
Well, that's if you're in ketogenesis, and we're born in keto
Right,
when we're
right,
babies.
right.
But once we get into this Western diet with
Oh,
sugar, carbohydrates, processed foods, and seed oils, this is, I mean,
well,
you
see,
know,
that's what builds up the huge repository of sugar. So what happens is that our body will recreate cells either based off of fat, but then there's a secondary system, which is if you have a high amounts of sugar, you can burn that also for energy and create it. The problem is that when we drink alcohol, we put such large repositories of sugar in our body, we trick our body to then use the sugar for cell regrowth instead of the fat. And then we can exercise and do all this stuff. Body's like, okay, cool, cool, cool. Let me grab the sugar because I got so much of it versus let me grab the fat. And that's why you can see people that exercise all the time, but if they drink a lot, it doesn't
they're
equal out.
never going to burn, they're never going to burn the fat cells off.
I think maybe hypothetically, if you were always a skinny person, maybe because what I'm saying is like if you're already a skinny person and you have like an off ratio, it's not going to affect you as much because you're not trying to lose more weight versus somebody that's gotten fat and is now trying to lose weight, but then working out
Yeah.
and drinking alcohol, you're not going to net negative in any way.
Well, and like you said, I mean, it could be upwards of 1,000 calories a night. Imagine you have a half rack of beer, or an 18 pack. That's all empty calories. There's no nutrition in that, and your body has to process and metabolize that alcohol, that poison, before you can even metabolize the food. And the worst thing is, what do we do when we drink? People make bad decisions, with their food. Oh, let me get those two cream cheese dogs, or let me get that double cheeseburger. Let me order a pizza. Let me get some wings. And it's like, oh, that greasy food will be good for you. It'll soak up the alcohol. No,
No,
bro.
this is. I
No.
think. I think it's like the NFL and entertainment that. I mean, because you're sitting there, you're on your couch anyway. You have nothing to do, so you got the TV on. You're watching the game. Commercials come on. Food, beer. Food, beer. You
Oh,
know.
that's all it is.
you
Yeah,
know.
unhealthy food.
Yeah. There's nothing.
Healthy food.
There's no vegetables or no. And I'm not even a big vegetable or fruit. I'm not talking like. I
I'm
just
not either.
mean it's just that it's really you look at it and you're like, this is terrible food. It's fast food, number one. Usually
Yeah.
it's love that chicken from Popeyes, and then you don't even know if you're getting real chicken or rat because that's how bad the cleaning is. But yeah,
Oh,
so yeah, it's a terrible combination. It's something that's specifically going on, I guess, with our propaganda in this country that yeah you have to have a big meaty base before you start drinking and then you're going to have fun. No, you're going to go to sleep. That's all you're going to really do, and then you're not going to burn any of those calories that you just ingested, so your body's going to store all of
right.
them and you're going to be
Right.
fat. This is the same
Yeah.
reason why a lot of people say in certain Caribbean cultures, like what was it, eat like a king in the morning, like a prince in
Yep.
the afternoon, and a pauper in
Yep.
the evening, because in the evening
Correct.
your activity scales down. So
Yep.
therefore you're burning less calories. And now you don't want to take that and commit that to memory or storage, or it's now sitting there. You want to eat it and burn it at the same time.
And you need to give your body time to metabolize the food before you go to sleep.
Yep,
You
that's
know,
true.
important to
Very
go to
true.
bed on an empty stomach, and eating early is a great fat loss hack to recomposition your body. Um, so I guess where I'm at with an alcohol free life is that it is what you make of it. And some people have, always chosen to be alcohol free. There's people like Donald Trump that have never had a sip of alcohol. There are
I
lots of
don't know.
Hollywood
Wait. I
celebrities.
don't know anymore with the claims of Donald Trump with the Epstein files going on. Like, I don't know. We might have
Okay.
it might have been a whole situation. He's passed out in the alley with two purple crown. You just don't know, and it would be something like royal. what was that? The purple one that the black people.
Crown Royale.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, yeah, the Crown Royal. It would be appropriate for some reason for him to have those. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
he looks like he's doing too much, so he's obviously not taking a drink to relax. So yeah, he's probably sober. Yeah, it's interesting. So
yeah. He's
that person, I'm sorry, and
Yeah, and then you've got people who are, functioning alcoholics. You've got people who are dysfunctional uh, because of alcoholism. I think I was probably someone who was functional
Mhm.
and, got to drinking daily. And, really there was no stigma from any of my friends or family or people I worked with. It didn't impact my success or my ability to work out and hit my goals in life.
Did you ever feel like you were better at your job sometimes, or like coming up with ideas when you had like something to take the ease off, like your mind was better, right? That's what I told
Uh,
myself, at least. I would say, "Oh, I
okay.
program better," or whatever.
No, I probably wouldn't go there. No. Just thinking about it just gives me a headache actually right now. Like, I think in my mid 20s, living abroad, my body started to process it differently.
Hmm.
Um, it just, but it didn't stop me,
Hmm.
And then I recently, about a year ago, I was drinking a Heine 00
I like those.
beer.
Those are good.
Yeah, they're not bad. And the waitress came by and said, "Do you want another one?" I said, "Yeah, please." And she brought me a regular Heineken,
Oh, come on now.
and I drank it, and I never looked at the label. I just assumed she saw 00, which was green with a blue label,
Yeah.
and she never showed me the face, and I didn't check, and it tasted exactly the same.
Oh, yeah.
So
Interesting. Yeah.
so I drank it, and when I found out it was a regular Heineken, I felt like I drank poison and I was going to die. My
Hmm.
body has, I mean, a few things. When you don't drink, when you avoid carbohydrates and processed foods and a lot of sugar, you
Yep.
get so in touch with your body. I mean,
Mhm.
you don't feel good when you eat a banana. You know what I mean?
This
I'm
is
doing,
true. I mean, even right
yes,
before we had this meeting, I'm like, I'm kind of hungry, right? And I was like, what do I want? I was like, and I just grabbed some like mixed nuts with walnuts and a little chocolate. Like, I just want something small. Like, I
that
don't
sounds
need a
good.
lot. And this last grocery shopping got like all this stuff to cook, and I don't like. It's just kind of like I just want to have little things like maybe like some really fresh bread with a little bit of truffle oil on it, or something that was on that. Oh my god, it was delicious.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a thing. But yeah, because and even I notice like now I can pay more attention to like my body movements and things like maybe because I'm losing weight. I'm down like 28 pounds, so that's
Good for
a
you, buddy.
thanks. That's a good thing. But
Yeah.
I noticed that now it's not like I'm just thinking more about what is this gonna make me feel like versus
Well,
what I eat.
I recently quit caffeine about 3 months ago, and
Hmm.
I was a Seattle native and grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had
Okay.
world's best coffee, bad weather. We had every excuse to drink coffee all day, and the sun doesn't come out until 9 a.m. if it even comes out. And
Oh,
so, I'm telling you, I sleep like a baby now. I put my head down and I'm out. I've never been a good sleeper in my whole life. I've worked nights. I've had a lot of stressful work in my life,
yep.
and I seek adrenaline and with cars and you know training and other things, and being alcohol free and caffeine free. I mean, first of all, it's eating and drinking for your blood type. I don't know if you've ever taken a blood type test. There's diets based on your blood type,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I'm O positive, so I'm
okay,
supposed
me
to be
too.
more like
So
meat based, more protein
yeah,
rich. Yeah.
meats, fish,
Mhm.
dairy, and then also it's no caffeine and no alcohol.
I did not
And
know about the caffeine part.
yes.
Hmm.
I'm telling you, I've done so much better without caffeine. Just I never feel anxiety. I never um, much less stress, and so much easier to sleep. And you do feel you never get that kind of jolt, or you don't have that same kind of energy. But I can still get through my workouts once I start. doing them. I get through it. I've got endurance. I have the strength I'm used to. And then, when it's time to go to bed, I mean, I'm asleep, and
So
and I don't wake up in the middle of the night.
what I'm starting to deduce, or if that's the right way to use that word, from this conversation is that, you know, these things, whether it's caffeine or alcohol, we're stealing from our body and we're stealing time. So, like when you're
Yes.
talking about caffeine, yeah, you can have a peak, but you're stealing it from another part of the day when you start to get a headache and a drag, and then you're becoming dependent on it, right? So
Yes.
the idea is to more so coast at an even level, and as a man especially, right?
Yep.
We should be coasting on this evil level plane because it allows us to process a lot more data, see things going on around us, make better decisions,
Mhm.
and blah 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 blah. If we're either drinking, so we're inebriated and we're not paying attention to any detail at all, we could miss
Yeah.
vital data, information, situational awareness, whatever's going on. If we're super high up on caffeine, well, what about the downslope? What is that going to look like when we're in the downslope? Are we going to keep having to caffeinate ourselves? And it is a drug because you drink, drink, drink. You're supposed to stop, so many cups at a certain time. You go to two, so all of a sudden in the evening when it's time to go to sleep, like how humans were supposed to go to sleep when it's dark, 8 or 9,
Yes.
you're up to 11 or 12 o'clock because you're still working off that caffeine from two.
That's right. It lasts in your system for 12 to 16 hours. And I think the mindset for our channel here and what we discuss is about trying to put yourself in optimal condition
Mm-hmm.
for
Yep.
success,
Yep.
mentally, physically, spiritually, uh this base of knowledge. And so,
You think that's well accepted, or do you think that some people think that people that are so focused, that they're no fun, or that they don't take the time to smell the roses, as I'm sure a woman would, I'm like my wife, sorry, I don't mean all women. Oops, that was a little.
sure,
But it's
please like and
okay.
subscribe if you're a woman. Don't ignore this
It's
guy.
okay. We don't have enough subscribers yet to get canceled. So, but
Let's
yeah,
talk about Epstein. Let's get
it,
real.
I mean, but do you think it being focused is an appealing thing to a majority or a minority, or like what do you think about that? Because I'm thinking certain people just like to wing it and they are happy with their life winging it, and then some people understand because of their growing responsibility that, whether it could be work, it could be family, it could be taking care of your family or your parents or whatever. Um, is what would drive a man or a woman, anybody, to decide to be focused? Like, why is that a thing? I don't know. That's a loaded lot
It's
of questions.
necessary for growth. I mean, I look at Mike Tyson, for example. About 5 years ago, he said, the guy's been world champion many times, served prison sentence, trained hard, very naturally gifted, very tough upbringing, not never had a good mentor or father figure in his life, and made a lot of mistakes. The guy said, I want to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
That's a winning
And
attitude. Yeah.
yeah, he is now, what is he pushing for now? Oh, he's pushing against processed foods. He's like teaming up with
Oh, I
RFK
think I've seen
Jr.
I've seen something already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not the most creative commercial, but
No, it's like they're eating.
good message there.
It's like
Yes. But it's a good message.
not processed, but I don't know.
I
It's
think
just
if
too, ironic. Oh, no process, but I have a red, an apple. Here you go. Like, oh, that's the obvious choice. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
if you have goals, if you need to grow, you
Yep.
really do need to live outside your comfort zone. And I think that coffee and alcohol are about returning yourself to normal and being in a comfort zone. So, oh, I can't do this without my coffee. Oh, I just woke up. Oh, I haven't had my coffee yet. Oh man, I'm really dragging because I had coffee this morning. Well, and not to mention people are just throwing away $10, every morning to go to Starbucks and
No.
stand in line or have their car in the drive-through for 25
So
minutes.
it's not $10 because see, I account all my time at a certain
Right.
number of cost. If I'm going to sit there for 15 minutes waiting for a cup of coffee that I paid $10 for, Well, see, that's 10 minutes of my time that I could have been doing something else, like making money,
Yes.
figuring out something else, a new process or
Yes.
whatever. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, the lines like here in suburbia, I mean, literally, they put two Starbucks a block, not even a block away. Like you could see
Yeah.
the other one from the other spot, and then they put a third one here in Riverview, and it's like this must be a drug. It must be something like Chick-fil-A. There's some ingredient or something in there that is causing people to decide because you and I both know these people that are going to get coffee, if they could get 10 more minutes in the bed, you know they would. But something's drawn. I mean, like, what?
Absolutely.
I mean, why would I? Why would I do this?
Well, most of it is sugar, so you're getting that sugar fix. Sugar is highly addictive, and caffeine is highly addictive, and as is alcohol. It's all addictive.
But I just don't understand the mindset because at one time you could make this coffee at home, but then you had a pot. And then on the pot, got really smart and they made a timer and you can set the days of the week and the time so that when you wake up, it's
That's
already.
not bougie enough. That's not because Starbucks is almost it's beyond convenience, right? Oh, I can't make it myself. I don't have time. You're in line for 30 minutes, you know? Uh
Is
it's
it bougie still?
it is in Florida because there's no like real coffee houses here. I'm
Because,
from Seattle where they're very anti-corporate and
oh, yeah.
the
Yeah.
baristas are taking 20 minutes to pull a
Oh, don't
shot
talk about
and
it. Oh, my
yeah,
God.
gotta do you want oat milk and or hemp milk or almond milk or dairy free milk, whatever. It's just
So you're
and
just
then
drinking
look at
calories and coffee, basically. Calories just straight up.
yes. And some people are lactose intolerant or
Yeah, I'm
and
lactose
coffee is
intolerant.
rough on your system. I mean,
Yeah.
it's anyway. My advice is if you could don't do both things at once.
Gee.
But that would be a very rough week. But
And
if
rough
you
on whoever you live with.
yes, yes, yes. Wait until your spouse goes on a work trip or goes and stays with their parents or something. But try it out for a couple days. And while you're at it, fix your diet. You can't do everything at once overnight,
No,
but
I still
if you
drink
have
coffee. Yeah, I mean, you know.
our brain is a muscle and our body's a machine and we have goals and I all I can say is I've watched a lot of pro athletes who have chosen to be alcohol free and the level of performance. I mean, you take someone who's not an all-star and then all of a sudden they just have this breakout year and they become an all-star. How'd you do it? Well, I stopped drinking. Oh, I'll try that too. Telling his teammate, Max Crosby, says, okay, I'm going to go sober. I'll drink these non alcoholic beers. Guy's a Pro Bowler like 4 years in a row, all since he became alcohol free. You know, did he have a problem? Probably not, but just example,
Processing. Processing.
example,
Hmm.
two equally matched fighters, in a match, same weight, same reach, same level of skill in boxing or jiu-jitsu, whatever it is. One has a beer and the other one doesn't. The opponent who did not drink a beer has the advantage when they fight a week later. I also just saw something. This woman was talking on a podcast about alcohol and how if the FDA or whatever, and mind you, the FDA lets a lot of things slide. Okay, we have a lot of poison in our foods, but alcohol is so potent that if it was governed the same way that drugs are regulated now, they would only recommend about 1 glass per year.
That's interesting.
So let that sink in. Now, I mean, it's in movies, it's all over the commercials, it's in every bar. When you decide to not drink alcohol and you go out to a restaurant,
Sure.
it's like tap
Right.
water, black coffee. I mean, you're lucky to get lemonade or, and something that's just all pure sugar, right? So it's like you can have sugar and none of it's fresh, right? It's not fresh fruit juice. You can have soda, which is terrible for you and probably has caffeine, or coffee, which you don't want to have after noon anyway. or you're going to drink some water that probably has fluoride in it. So alcohol yes, is a poison, but maybe it's made from, cleaner ingredients and these other things. Not advocating for it, just saying it's a challenge uh, to be sober when you go out with your spouse or your friends, and even then trying to be social. I'm going to tell you, everyone says, "Oh, I can't be around alcohol." It's not. They're not necessarily saying it because of addiction or the temptation. It's actually because people who drink when you're sober are very annoying.
Yeah.
So annoying, bro. Everyone thinks, "Oh, I'm a genius. I figured this out, and I've got this great idea, and I keep slurring and talking over everyone,
And
and
spitting and like stuff coming out your
oh, and
mouth.
spitting, and just
Uh,
the level of interruption and the argumentativeness. It's just so difficult to be around. And look, when you don't have alcohol going on in your life, you don't need to stay out until 2 in the morning
no, your body
to
gets tired. Like you
to
said,
feed your buzz.
you listen to your body
Yeah.
more. And you're like,
Yes.
I just need to go home, take a shower, and get into bed or something. Like this is all I feel like doing right now because it's
Or
time for
yeah,
me to
let's just
go.
throw on
So, so,
Netflix or go have a
so
workout or open up a book.
So like the players and that you mentioned that are and even like the fighters, could it
Hmm.
be again as we start to go down more into the quantum layer, as we say, as we if we break this thing down a little bit more, it is because when we drink alcohol especially, our body has to process the sugars. Whereas so we're stealing time again away. So whereas our bodies are always active, making repairs, fixing muscles, okay, processing, food and doing everything. If it has to divert itself constantly to go process, oh wait, here we go, another huge bomb of sugar, and you gotta look at the different workers in your body. They go, damn it, not again. Oh, like this guy will he ever stop? I'm waiting for a Disney movie to come out, but they serve the other purpose. They would never make a real movie about like Inside Out or something. But anyway, the point is we are always stealing resources, right? And so if you think about it comes into effect really for me, like when I think about computers, of course, because that's what I do. But like you have one server, right? And usually what you do is when you buy a server in a data center, you virtualize it, you cut it up into different virtual servers, and then those different virtual servers do different things, right? And you can make 13 virtual servers out of this one server, or you can make 26. It just all depends on how you divvy up the resources. But the fact is, the physical server, whatever resources you configured on Microsoft and they sent you or Dell or whatever, that's it. So once you use more, you can divert, but then other vital processes aren't running at the same time. Other servers that have, maybe I'm losing you. I don't know, but basically meaning our bodies only have so much resource and it can be divided up in many different ways to tackle different tasks and processes like you can have a web server or a database server or this that and the other, but when it comes to a huge ingress like large sugars or a large amount of alcohol, now the body can't continue to run all those processes that make you better. If you're an athlete, for instance, and you have to recover from your muscles from running or whatever, doing things like that, now all of a sudden, instead of your body being able to devote its proper amount of resources towards that, you're drinking sugars, which then it doesn't. So then the guy that does have the full repair is going to have the advantage on you all the time because he's sober.
Well, he's gonna have a clear head. He's not hungover. He can stay in ketosis. He can fast.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some advantages. He's gonna get a better
Oh,
muscle
fasting.
recovery.
Because again,
Because
same principle. If I'm not breaking down food and process, I can focus on everything else in the body, right?
right, and when we fast and we get into autophagy, actually our body repairs and eats its own dead cells.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And we're also when we're fasting,
So
the body
if we
will.
never do that, do we have just a bunch of dead cells there all the time, or is it like a
We
waste? Or
do. We
okay,
do. I mean, fasting is literally like getting into a med bed.
Okay.
It's I think it's the greatest thing. Joe Rogan did like an 89 or 84-hour fast and made a video about it. I highly recommend people to check it out.
Hmm.
Um, he had a little bone broth here and there after the first 24 hours. We can also take things like essential amino acids, and you can talk to our friend Doc Sock, who sponsors the Perfect Amino by Body Health.
Mm.
We're also looking for sponsors for this show.
Yep, 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 yep.
So our body, can't make those amino acids. They have to come from either proteins that we eat or we can take the supplement.
Yep.
Uh, Anyhow, so there's all these processes that the body can't do when it has to process alcohol first or maybe fight an infection, something like that. Well, you can't go work out when you've got a fever, you can't do anything when you got a really bad upset stomach, and you
Mm.
can't do anything when you're processing alcohol. Like about all you can do is eat, and then that's going to be the most counterproductive meal you've had.
Now
It
you're
really
way
doesn't matter
behind. You're
what you
double
do.
behind now.
You're double behind because you're processing and you're not metabolizing.
Yep.
So process the poison, you can't metabolize the food, and you're going to store the fat immediately, right? And now you got to work double hard or eat healthy for twice as long in order to make up for that meal. And you know what? At our age, when you get into the 40s, you don't
Don't have
you're
it to
just
waste.
you're just running out of time, man. It's
You
you
don't have
against
it to
mother.
waste. You don't.
You, you don't. You
You,
don't. We
you,
have to.
everything. I mean, I could tell now that I have stopped drinking. It's kind of helped again, but I used to be able to eat crazy stuff and drink, and it didn't affect me like that. I was always still relatively in my same weight area, and I've had a desk job most of my life since I was
Hmm.
like 20 years old. So it's not like it's something new where the activity level changes. But like I said, I just I think from this conversation, which I'm accepting more, and I really think about this thoroughly through, is that as we think about our body only having so many resources, how are we smart? How are we making sure that we're not taking anything away from a process or a resource that's needed? So, how are we making sure that we give our body the best chance to repair itself, the best chance to rest? Then it gives the best chance to perform, right? And
Yeah,
that could be mentally, that could be physically, and that could be just being able to handle more stress and different things that are getting thrown at us, which is emotional
absolutely.
to some degree. Um, but now my thought process, and this might be a little bit off topic, or it's a deeper because I'm kind of go deeper. I'm like, but why do we feel like we want to perform at our best? Why does everybody? Why does everyone? Should everyone feel that way? Do they not know it, or do some people not have that feeling that they want to perform at their best? Healthy people, I'm talking about mentally healthy people.
I think a lot of America is in survival mode right now. I
Mm,
think due to inflation and the economy, the housing market,
mm-hmm.
very turbulent times with foreign relations and investigations that are coming to light. There's a lot of uncertainty about the future,
Mm-hmm.
so and as millennials, we've had I don't know how many resets and recessions and
Yeah.
tough job market. Oh, I got to go back and go to grad school, or I need a cert, or I got to get this training, or oh man, no one's hiring right now, or I can't get that promotion. Oh, I like where I work and I like my income, but I hate where I live,
Mm-hmm.
or I love where I live, but there's no good jobs here. So, we're always trying to improve our situation. It's women are programmed for this with hypergamy biologically to find the best mate for their offspring,
Mm-hmm.
and men less so because the man has to
Yeah,
rely
we
on
don't care.
himself.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
we have to rely on ourselves, right?
yeah.
So women are born with their value, and men have to create their own value. And so since we have to create our own value, and I'm speaking to the men who are listening right now, uh, we need to be optimizing our time, our health, our relationships, our effort, our work, everything, because we only get one shot at this. And I'm in my early 40s. I'm halfway through my life,
Mm.
and I don't have the luxury of taking any longer to figure things out. I've been sober over 3 years now, but I wish I discovered it a long time ago. I've
Mhm.
been caffeine free for 3 months, but I wake up at 5:30 in the morning. It's dark.
Yeah.
I got a long commute to work, and
Mm.
I come home and I work out, and I still have time with my wife and make dinner and
Yeah,
do
because you're
chores around
even.
the
You're
house
even now. You're not
because
here at
I'm even keeled.
you're
Yeah, I
even, you
really
know.
don't get the crash. And if I do feel a little tired or sluggish, actually going outside and just getting some vitamin D, drink some water, go walk around, get up out of the desk, and get outside, walk around a little bit. And it's amazing how the body can feel differently so quick if the mind tells it to think a different way or to feel a different way.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. I mean, even for me, I think that my motivation has been looking in the mirror, slightly,
mhm,
with a shirt off.
mhm,
It makes me feel like I'm progressing and I'm accomplishing something because, like I said, I
yeah,
have very young kids, and I want to be around for them as they become an adult and they get married and blah 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 blah. And I want to still look good. I don't want to be no like hobbling guy, trying to even though anyway, the point is that it so you mentioned and you said because for one thing time, as we relatively know, we won't all live forever and we have certain responsibilities and things we have to take care of. That if you're a caring and loving man, you're going to be conscious of those things, and so that's what pushes you on rush. And like you also said about just from the perspective of the times that we're living in, which is the country going through so much. Like you have to be. There's no settling in one spot. There's no working one job and waiting for the retirement and gold watch. We like you said, millennials have been through different time periods where it was like all you need to do is good hard work ethic. Then nope, you need an associate's degree. Nope, you need a 4-year degree. Now you need to get we've been through all these kind of like I remember when I was started college, I was going because I want to do like civil drafting, like under like piping and stuff like that because I had
mhm,
a really good job at a huge firm doing it. And then I asked like the guy who had been doing it for 20 years, we just had a conversation about salary, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I just made it to like 40 grand." And I was like, pivot.
yeah.
I was like, "No, no, no, this is not gonna work at all." Oh, and that's when and that's when I started going to computers. But yeah, I the that is an interesting question because it's a personal question for me when I say about um why do we feel like we have to focus and push ourselves to another level? Because I probably obsess about that slightly a little bit about always just finding new ways to improve to be better to be better. And sometimes I take my eye off and I just look at other people like God. It seems like they're relaxing and they're still breathing the same air that I am, and they still live relatively wherever I live, and I'm just like, but why do I have this thing where I have to be better? Why is it that I'm always searching for improvement? And I think it's because like I love learning.
That could be. I mean, you came up in a time, those of us that went through oh 08, oh 09, in there,
Yep.
and had our degrees, or had to go take a job, and had to go be underemployed or unemployed.
Yep.
It puts you in a mode of survival. And our grandparents, who may or may not be with us anymore, they went through the Great Depression and World War II. um, that it gets you in survival mode. And when we're in survival mode, we're always trying to do better, achieve more,
Hmm.
have more things, and build security. How do we build security? Well, stockpile. Um, so whether it's money, information, muscles, endurance, better health, more knowledge. These things are really important. And if someone looks like they're just coasting, or they got their foot off the gas, they may be comfortable where they're at, or they might know that, hey, whatever I do, I can't control how fast the world's spinning. and I can't control
Isn't that like the blue pill? Like sometimes I just wonder about that blue
blue
pill.
pill, red pill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I go like, you remember when in the Matrix, he knew that he was in the Matrix. He's eating a steak, and he's like, "Ignorance is bliss."
Hmm.
And I mean, from the first time I saw that movie when I was in, I think I might have been a teenager, or just about. Like that thing hit me where like there's two people that know what's going on or is trying to
Yeah.
figure it out, and they're struggling, and there's people that like I don't need to know, and the existence and the timeline and space is the same.
Yeah.
Um, which is a very interesting topic. So maybe the reason why I personally, like I said, I love knowledge and learning, but I think I want to learn because I'm the red pill person. Like I got to figure out: are we all just holograms, and this is a program the whole time, or is the physical world even really here and doesn't exist?
Oh, we're in a program. We're in a matrix for sure. But it's not like AI and computers now are becoming a huge part of our life, and they threaten our existence and our ability to support ourselves. Now they're our competitors for jobs, right?
Oh yeah.
What's going to get automated, what's not. Do we have too many people? What's do we need to have immigration? What about travel? Are we going to, you know, we're in times where we're going to be asking these questions, right? And our politicians are going to be asking these questions and taking polls and making policy. Um, but that doesn't mean that we can't focus on ourselves
No.
and be centered and get focused. And, for me, like with all this uncertainty in the future in the world, I'm like you. I want to be as prepared as possible and gain as much knowledge and experience and just better myself. I want to be optimally walking through life,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
It's like if you're going to exist, why not exist the best way possible? Like why not be powerful in that way? What I learned like with a couple different shifting points in my life, one stop drinking and things like that, is like now I'm so much more I'm stronger for myself, right? And so because of that, like I'm able to stay more focused. I have less distractions. I have less things that get in the way, which only allows me to like perceive information and bullcrap a little bit better when I see it right away. Like it doesn't take me as
Mhm.
long to process or what are you talking about because I'm focused. And those things are I think very keen on also uh, changing my emotional reaction to certain types of information and data because now I've been able to ingested information, classified it, what it is, and now here's the sprint or the exercise to put it in its box or wherever it needs to be, and this is the go-to. Um, and so that's me getting super nerdy about a conversation about not drinking. Um, I you
Oh,
know
who wants to try sobriety?
yeah, right. So I did. So part of my reason was my dad stopped drinking also, at the same time, and I didn't believe him. He was down visiting, and let me tell you something. I was the worst influence because it was before I stopped drinking. I was going up to the store, big bottle, like, "You sure, buddy?" And for the week he was here, he did not drink, and it was like, whoa, And I said, okay, I want to continue to support him with this. So there wasn't a lot of thought process. I don't know when I'm going to go back to drinking. And the interesting thing is, it was such an identifying part of me for my adult life. Like I'm the guy that can drink a bunch, kind of guy. I'm the good time, free spirit, la la la, get a little out, and then I had to kind of change and drop that identity. But I don't honestly, I don't feel like mine is a lot shorter than yours. My time.
Mhm.
Whatever, 1.5% or whatever to 10. I don't know what it is. It's getting late. I'm not going to do math. But still, I've gone in. People are going to come over to my house that I know that drink. I'm still going to be a great hostess. I'll go out there and still get a 12-pack of beer for them to drink. I'm not,
Mhm.
and that's another subject too. And they drink it, and I say, take it all with you. And I did not feel like I needed to drink a single beer. I didn't feel like it. I was like, oh, okay.
Yes.
The next part, and maybe we don't have time, maybe we do got a few, couple minutes, is just if these are your choices, the most important thing I find is do not make your choice everybody what everybody else should do. I see that
Correct.
especially with the vegetarians and vegans. Nothing against it, but like they like it'd be like every time they see a piece of meat, they oh my god, and it's like it'd be the same ridiculous reaction if I saw somebody pick up a beer and go, oh, I can't believe you're drinking that. Do you know what that does to your body? It's like
Well, that happened. That was the temperance movement. That was prohibition.
yeah.
It happened.
Well, I
People
thought
voted.
prohibition was about Rockefeller and the oil, and that Ford
Well,
found a way to run off of alcohol. But anyway, yeah, that's another.
people voted for it,
Yeah,
and followed it, and
no, it's
people
true. It's
broke.
true. It's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, no, I agree. Whatever your beliefs are, there is a fellowship to being sober. Um, a lot of people find it in AA. Some people just find it because it's something that you usually end up sharing with people when you get close enough. So yeah, I don't drink, or oh, okay. And then well, I'm always surprised when the other person says, yeah, I don't drink either. Oh, really?
It
How
happened to
long?
me this past weekend at a bar. I went to
Okay.
Ybor to go see my friend who lives down there. I'm sorry, just real quick. And
Yeah.
we went up going to a bar. I got Heineken double zeros. And then the lady was like, do you want another? I said, yeah, I'll take another zero. Yeah. And then I said something about not drinking. The guy next to me was like, yeah, I've been sober for 6 years. And let me tell you about, and went through a whole story. Like,
Yeah.
told the whole story. But just like you said, as soon as I was like, yeah, I'm not this guy right here, I'm like, well, he's like, I just came here to get out the house a little bit. It doesn't mean it's interesting. It doesn't if you know why you're not doing it, it doesn't have the same type of hold on
Hmm.
you. If it's somebody else's choice, then it's much harder. Like somebody's pressuring you into doing it. But when it's you,
Yes.
I feel like it maybe it isn't such a disease like everybody makes it. Oh, it is a disease. I don't know if it's a disease.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. And for the record, I mean, I've gone to a few AA meetings, and I don't think it's for me. And I've
Mhm.
been able to just stop cold turkey and not have any desire. I mean,
Mhm.
do I look fondly at? I mean, red wine. Yeah, if I
Yeah.
smell it, it smells amazing, and I can appreciate it for what it is. But I don't miss the buzz. I don't need to be buzzed. I don't want the effects on my body. We just made a laundry list of why it's counterproductive to our goals. You
Yep.
know, and there's other ways to relieve stress and blow off steam, and or for whatever reason you might feel inclined to drink, and fun can be had without it. But back to this fellowship, in the AA community, your date of sobriety becomes your new birthday.
Okay.
And every, your 1 month, you get well, 24 hours, you get a coin, a week, a month, a year, 2 years, 3 years, etc. And, every year, my father gets me a coin on my anniversary. He's got, I think, 8 years now. So he's been very supportive. But
Hmm.
I also noticed that, the people really close to me, they hardly drink at all now. And
Hmm.
and almost everyone I know has reduced their drinking drastically, whether they're older than I am or younger than I am. Um,
Yeah, even the new
but
gens are not drinking like that at all.
oh man, Gen Z is like the lowest amount of alcohol sales now. They can't afford it. Okay, like that might be
Yeah,
part of
they
it, is
got a
they
real
can't
situation.
afford it.
Yeah,
But
they
it's a
got
very
huge college debt and no job.
well, they're not even going to college, so I don't even know if the debt's there. It's just the cost
Yeah,
of living is too high and the wages aren't there. And we don't teach these kids anything in school about finance or balancing a budget. They don't graduate with any skills. I didn't even. I went to public school,
yeah,
and then you got to go out and pay to learn skills for a job that you're not sure if you're going to get it, or if your job's still going to be around, or going to get replaced by computers. You know, or someone from another country. So um, this is the need to always be operating optimally for
you have to know.
your your present and your future. And
Yep.
but yeah, so the fellowship is really important as far as being able to stick with it, because it doesn't, you'd think it just gets easier as time goes on. It doesn't. Every day you wake up and it's a commitment. And I think where I drew inspiration from was there is a lot of, Hollywood actors, and no, they're not all on Epstein Island. There are some good people that just happen to be entertainers.
Yeah, yeah,
And these guys that have kind of rejected the party culture, or maybe they did party, but now they don't want to.
yeah. It
They
happens.
choose to go sober. And we're going to put a list and a scrolling list of all the lists of sober celebrities at the end of this video, and it's going to blow your mind. And they wear it with a badge of honor, and it is a badge of honor. They're the ability for them to get their life turned around and become more successful. They make more work, they make more money, they get in better shape, they get their relationships fixed. It might not be with the same spouse they had before, but alcohol can be a massive disruptor for relationships, massive disruptor. And you really owe it to yourself, if you're struggling in a relationship, to attempt to fix it after you've gone alcohol free, because otherwise it might just be you're giving up because the alcohol is there and it's interfering, and you don't realize that it's the alcohol that's impacting you and interfering with yourself and your partner, instead of just a compatibility issue.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the way that I'm thinking about this is like, I just think about how readily available and easy alcohol is to get to. And anything
Really?
that is actually valuable, right? Or that's important or healthy is harder, right? But like
Yes.
especially when you go up to like some of the northern states, like they have just alcohol and gas stations. I'm talking about hard liquor. I was up in Michigan last year, and it's like I couldn't believe they had the little small bottles at the checkout line. You know where kids
Mhm.
usually have candy and stuff of it. They had actual little bottles of flight bottles of rum and vodka, which I thought was crazy. But it's really like we said, if you're not if you're drinking alcohol and you're getting your mind is in its most active state and you're inebriated and you stay in an inebriated state, well then you're vulnerable and it's like easier for someone to pull something over on you, right? Because you really don't have all your senses firmly. So when you look at some of the political things that's going on in this country, that would have quite a bit of its citizens out of shape. The only thing that brings them together is football on Sunday with a big old beer and a couple of, it's a thing that kind of, and then what they did is they moved football from just being Sunday, then to Monday, you got to drink and be a Buffalo. Then there's a Thursday night game. Then there's a Saturday night. Oh, wait, you forgot about college.
Mhm.
So it's a
Yeah.
thing to you're like America. This is America's sport. Why are these things this way necessarily? Where it's keeping us distracted because there's all the while we've been drinking and we've been at the Vikings games and New York games and blah blah blah. Epstein's been on his island and inviting Clinton and everybody else over there, and they've been doing God knows what and making deals and figuring out how to blackmail to world dominance.
Yep.
And we've been sitting here drinking beer and watching guys run back and forth, so
Yep.
we don't see any of it going on. And then when things get brought up, it's just shh, let's sweep it under the rug. It's a very interesting kind of like path of thought when you think about it a little bit more. That
That's the matrix we're plugged into, and that's a good conversation for our next topic.
okay.
I would just like to close, uh, to wrap up this idea of sobriety.
Mhm.
And I was fortunate enough to go visit uh, Arlington National Cemetery in high school, and going and watching the old guard do the changing of the guard
Mhm.
ceremony
Mhm.
is amazing. I highly recommend it. I got lucky, it's like once every 4 hours, and we got there and ran up the hill, and it was just right in time, and we had, perfect unobstructed view.
Mhm.
So I watched these guys, and they're just so focused and so disciplined and so committed. And I learned about their selection process. So you have to have a spotless service record. You go through months of training and practice. You have to have letters of recommendation. You have
Mm-hmm.
to have just outstanding test scores and all this whatnot. But there are two requirements that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And the first is that you are not allowed to speak to your spouse or children for 6 months before you take your first post, because you have to get used to being
Mm-hmm.
completely
Mm-hmm.
like you gotta be a statue, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
except when you're doing
It's almost like you have to be
ceremony.
monk-like. You have to be focused.
It's Zen, yes. And then the second requirement is you have to promise to never have a sip of alcohol for the rest of your life.
Wow.
Wow. So you are guarding the remains of an unknown soldier who died to protect this country and give you the freedom to drink a beer and watch football. And they only ask two things of you. One is you cannot speak to your family for 6 months, and the second is you can never have another sip of alcohol in your life. So
And there's probably and there's also some level of balance because whatever they train you with and they teach you, like number one, being inebriated, it won't allow you to assess the situation properly, and you could do some serious damage. But
it's more ornate than that. It's balancing the rifle that weighs 40 pounds and has a fixed bayonet on it, and you're spinning it in the air. Your uniform has to be perfect. Your shoes have to be shined, perfectly. And
Mhm.
and they live underground, that too. They live below there. And they come out and they work through storms and snow and 100 mile per hour gusts, and they don't care. They refuse to lay down their arms and not rest. So that's whenever I struggled with not really addiction, just kind of feeling sorry for myself that I couldn't partake in these activities that I used to enjoy. I say, okay, well, there's these guys out there that it was so important to them in order to have this honor to serve this way that they were willing to make that sacrifice for the rest of their life.
Wow.
So I can do that too, but I'm doing it for myself. And I'm here as a resource to help others who are trying to do the same thing. Maybe I can inspire them, maybe not. Maybe they have to do it because they have no choice, or
There's a
maybe they need
method
to do
to
it.
the madness. There's a method. There's a reason for
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
you know, I think as individuals that are leaders, or our objective is always to be the best, to perceive things, and to be ready. And so that goes hand in hand with that. So there's no it's very telling and very interesting, to be at the best, to be chosen, 0.0% or whatever out of all people that could do this job, that you get selected, but then here are these requirements on top of it that you have to
Yes.
maintain. It just means that's the high alert, and that's the capability level that you have. Who doesn't want to be capable of having that type
Right.
of focus and to do that? And then what does that prepare each of us for as a human society, and as citizens? Like we've lost the thought of what are we contributing back, what are we giving back to society, because many people feel like it owes them everything.
That's
That's
true.
a whole nother conversation.
That's next week's episode, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Matrix, and okay, so we got Matrix, and then we got
Epstein.
like giving back to the community if it's not a Matrix, or figuring out how to get out of this thing that we are in as a society, right? Like how do
I
we?
think get out of your comfort zone. Don't be entitled. How do we inspire others, and how do we be the best version of ourselves?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, on that note, man, let's thanks again for having this one, and let's look forward to our next one, man.
Can't wait, brother. Just let me know when.
Yep, and again, if you like this video and you stayed this long, please like and subscribe. What's the whole term that they use? Do all this stuff. My kids are starting to yell in the background, so we're gonna end the video here, and thanks again for watching. All right, bro.
All right.
All right, Dre's home, and he's
All
hold on.
right.
Let's see here. Let me stop the video.